Howdy folks, welcome to another Time Sticking YouTube video. My name is Jake. Today we're going to be discussing why watches are called watches. So stick with us through this intro and we're going to go into the lingual aspects of calling a watch a watch. To kick things off today, I'd like to say, language is kind of a tricky thing. Essentially, words derive their meaning through context. So why watch? Obviously, people view timepieces like we view most things, television, movies, plays, etc. Basically, we watch watches. Despite the more obvious sight-involved aspect of reading a watch, watches and clocks of the past had other contextual utilities, as a result, giving fresh meaning to our subject. Going all the way back to Latin origins, watches gained their now modern title via Old World jargon. Personal clocks took their time in becoming known as watches in the English language. So, to continue, we'll be covering briefly how watchmen, sailors, and technological change ultimately shaped the history of a pretty important word in horology. Now, watch itself is a pretty dynamic word in English, deriving many meanings or being polysemous, as a linguist would say. Now, before you start Googling polysemous to make sure we're not saying something off color, we are quoting the dictionary. It's a bit of a fun frame to keep in mind while we're moving forward. So continuing, the first spring-driven clocks began appearing in the 15th century. Up until then, clock was a monosemous, one-meaning type of word. Well, before there were clock dials, the Middle Dutch word klok meant bell to describe bell chimes, which were typically found in churches. Clock with an E goes farther back into French and Latin, spelled C-L-O-Q-U-E, cloque, and clocka, respectively, from French and Latin. Its use in those two languages was similar to Dutch, with the words acting as onomatopoeias. Think Batman, Biff, Bang, Bong, and such. However, when the English began exporting their inventions, the word became synonymous with clock dials, not just audible clocks with an E. Using clock for clocks became common in the Anglophone and remained the most popular word for timepieces in English, until those timepieces got smaller. Pocket clock doesn't necessarily have a bad ring to it. But Old English had brewed up a word that was bound to beat out that old Dutch clock, with an E, by the end of the 17th century. Now, the very first pocket watch was invented in the early 16th century, but there was language that predated this that would eventually catch up. At this time, the Old English word W-A combined with E-C-C-E, pronounced like watch, had been around for centuries. It looks pretty wild to modern English. Originally meaning to be filled with wakefulness, i.e. stay woke, it had little to do with time-telling, contraptions, and inventions. It was eventually appropriated by the 15th century to address being woken up, as if by an alarm clock or chime. By the time of Shakespeare, though, from the late 16th century into the 17th century, watch, with a T on the end, was becoming something more akin to how we use it today. Historically, the groups that tend to get the most clout for inventing the word watch as we know it today are sailors and watchmen, so working people from England. Having a daily or nightly watch became part of occupational speech in modern English, as I sort of implied. Because of this, saying watch was slowly attributed to personal time tellers for checking one's watch or shift. There's that polysemous bend, multiple meanings. Further sealing the fate of the word watch, in 1675, Charles of England introduced men's waistcoats. His fashion-forward waistcoats solidified the use of personal pocket watches for men. From there, if it was a personal clock, more often than not, folks referred to their timepiece as a watch. Though there's still some speculation and research being done on the overall origins of the modern usage of watch, what we've covered today covers the basics. Before dials, clock and watch had more to do with sound than sight, but did have merits in wakefulness. With the advent of widespread clockmaking, and eventually watchmaking, all over Europe, watch became a quick and easy way to reference a personal timepiece. So, watch out for any personally set alarms and for any new words to crop up in English regarding time. Who knows, maybe one day we'll have a whole new horological language to wake up to. What's some slang regarding watches that you like? Are there any words that stand out for you that sound funny? I like horology, sounds kind of weird. So, leave us a comment, let us know how you feel about watchmaking and clockmaking terms. Hello, and thanks for watching our YouTube video today. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like, and you can find similar videos right here. For more new and interesting content from TimesTicking on our channel, please subscribe at the link here. And for more information about wristwatch repair and watch maintenance generally, you can find us at timesticking.com. Thanks so much and have a great day.